We're
Okay,
live.
we're live.
Go ahead.
From New York.
All right, well, we will call the June 14th, 2021 Village of Mount Sterling Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
David?
Here.
Melanie? Here. Craig?
Here.
Becky? Here. Jay?
Here.
Andy?
Here.
All's present?
David, would you like to lead us in prayer?
Lord, thank you for another beautiful day. And Lord, be with our council tonight as we make decisions for the village, and be with our mayor. And Lord, thank you for what you've done in making the doctors that had the vaccine, so now people have more freedom, Lord. And we always have freedom in you, Jesus, no matter what the situation. In our wonderful, wonderful Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like a motion to approve the minutes from the council meeting held on May 24th, 2021.
You have that motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
So it was David
David,
and
Craig.
Craig. Roll call?
David?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Mayor's report, I don't really have a whole lot to say. We've got a kind of a busy end of the agenda, so I would like to just remind everybody that school's out. Please be careful when you're out there. Watch for kiddos. You know, they're not always that smart when it comes to where they're at with their bikes and their stopping. So keep your eyes open for kids. We have a big weekend coming up. Traffic's going to be a little crazy, so just be conscious of that. And that's all I have really for tonight. So President Pro Tem?
All right. Thank you, Mayor Darlington. I don't have much else to report either as well. Just for sake of council and public, our commission meeting that we normally have once a quarter, it was scheduled for June 22nd. It has been postponed, and there will be a date sent to us, and we'll make sure to let everybody know when that happens. But other than that, just kind of following what Mayor said, it's end of the year. We're all kind of ready to get going and getting these events going in the community and all that fun stuff. So let's get going.
Okay. It's really good to see everybody up here at council again, and we hope that it stays that way for a while. Public comments, visitors? Bob, anything? No? We have no executive session. That takes us to our department reports. Sheriff report, Jack Dill.
All right, Bob's here, guys. You can all rest easy.
We were worried about you.
We're worried about it. You guys have the sheriff's report in front of you. Does anybody have any questions on it? If you notice, it's been pretty active for the past 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it's been since we were last in here. If nobody has any questions on that, the festival is coming up. There's gonna be traffic change, and people need to be aware of it, slow down. Like you said about the kids are gonna be running everywhere because of the festival. So this is a time for parents to keep an eye on your kids. We can only do so much, the community can only do so much. Parents need to step up and help us out. So we are gonna be monitoring the side streets where the traffic's gonna be going. So we're gonna be out there taking care of that. We'll be downtown here too. So anybody have any questions on that?
So there's gonna, just as a courtesy, I know there'll be signs posted, but in case anybody's watching this YouTube, there will be no parking down Church Street by the Dairy Freeze.
Right.
And then no parking halfway through Market Street.
Yes, at least past that building where the auto place
Yeah.
is, at least to there. You can't park from there to the corner.
Okay.
Same on Houston Street. We're gonna We have to leave some parking for the people there because some of them don't have
Driveways.
driveways. So we gotta cut it back at one end of the road and at the other end, so we can get semi-traffic around that.
And that will begin Wednesday morning as the,
Yeah, we should probably put the signs out Tuesday afternoon, and that way, once the road closure signs go up, people will know Tuesday night they can't be parking there.
We were actually going to, after council meeting, possibly start putting some of the signs up.
Absolutely.
I don't think I have enough ones with stakes yet, but the ones that can hang, we're gonna start putting those up and,
Yeah. And if we have any cones, just put them right there down in the curbs, just so people know, hey, don't be parking here.
yeah.
So,
And it-
'cause I
without-
know some places, you can't put a sign in the ground because it's all concrete.
Yeah.
So-
And with that said too, you guys mentioned what roads not to park on London Street as well. And, that seems like a given, but, and then the festival's going one block each way right here on,
Yeah,
what is this, Main?
Main,
So there will be like no parking from like
Market.
Wraps, yeah, and then no parking to the first
Alley.
alley there, yeah,
Well, I've just taken on down to High Street, and then
yeah,
people need to park inside the thing, like vendors or something.
Yeah.
That's their parking area.
yeah. And we've already made sure, of course, with ODOT, like we do every time. And, we've also checked with the, fire chief, and he's informed the squad and everything, and so everyone's cool with it.
Right. Did you get, I know you and I talked about signage. Did Sheriff Swaney get you any detour signs?
additional, no.
Okay.
He said that you guys have a trailer or something that might have something in it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I am going to bring the sign trailer down, if the sheriff will allow me, Wednesday morning. And we're going to put it on Market Street first, just for a day or two. And then,
Oh, the traffic sign.
yes. just,
Okay, yeah.
Hey, slow down. This is a detour route. Kids are out.
The
Watch
bridge
out
is
for
still out,
cicadas,
so-
right?
Now, cicadas are fine.
Okay, as long as they are happy, that's.
Anybody notice the birds are really happy?
The-
Oh, yeah, they sure are. They sure are.
All right, if anybody has any questions, that's all I have.
No, I would just, I know I should have done that in my report, but I want everybody to be, I guess I just want to say thank you to the Sheriff's Department and send some special thoughts out to the village of West Jefferson who had that horrible shooting about 3 weeks ago, and they, where they lost, was it 4 people? They just announced today that they have the person that they're pretty positive is responsible for that. We all just have to really be diligent about, our surroundings, the people around us, because people are just crazy right now. And, Chief Floyd did say that there was a wonderful cooperation and collaboration with Franklin County Sheriff, Madison County Sheriff, BCI, West Jeff. And so, we have no idea what our officers could possibly come up against. So, and then to turn right around and have the drowning so close to home, I'm sure West Jefferson is just kind of not knowing what to think right now. So thank you for your service.
You're welcome, thank you.
That takes us to our law director report. I have nothing from him. Do you?
Nope.
Okay. Utilities, Misty will be at our next meeting. Zoning, building, Tom, do you have anything from him?
Nope.
Do you have anything from him? All right, that takes us to you, fiscal officer.
Okay, I don't have much either. What I will be circling and cycling around here is to obtain some signatures for the May bank statement reconciliation. Did any council members have any questions in regards to any of the reports? I know we addressed a couple of them today in our finance meeting. But the reports you guys do have in front of you here are going to be for the month of May. I didn't get anything back, so I assume there was no question. But again, just for the public's, informational, for the public is, anytime you can come in here and request any copies of public records. Obviously, everybody by now probably should know Facebook page, email, phone number, extension, town hall number. But you can always certainly give me a phone call or a shout out and let me know if you have any questions. And again, these reports here, for the finance, we're gonna be talking about possibly reviewing these each month, as we do always. But, you know, making sure that if there's any questions that anybody has, to please get a hold of me or reach out to me. So with that said, I don't have any information on that. We are about almost 50% past our year. So, you know, in the next 3 months, we will be talking about budget again for 2022, probably in the next 3 months. So, you know, we will be talking about that, and I'm assuming each committee representative will probably talk about their committee stuff, so some of that will be addressed on my report. Also, for the May bank reconciliation, everything was accounted for and accounted for to the penny, nothing more, nothing less. Everything has been retracted, everything has been posted correctly versus what was received versus what I had posted. So this will be for the month of May. Obviously, this does go out to the auditors, and they have reviewed this as well. So there is no outstanding balances, nothing to be alarmed about. There was one return check, but we've since then addressed that with payment for that. So the only thing that I would ask now is if I could have a motion to approve the following reports: the appropriation status report, the revenue status, the receipt listing, payment listing report, comparison of budget and appropriated, the cash summary by fund, the reader report, and the bank reconciliation for May of 2021.
I'll make that recommendation.
I'll second.
Craig?
That was Craig and then Andy.
Roll call?
Melanie?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Okay, and if I could, I will be circulating this around for you guys to obtain your signatures on all 3 documents. And that's all the report that I have.
Thank you. Finance, Andy.
The only other comments I would add from this morning's finance meeting were the revenues continue to run up just a little bit ahead of where we should be this year, so that's a very positive thing given the overall economic situation. And that our spending as a village has been pretty tight and under control. It's running below where we should be, but that doesn't give us any, you know, congratulations, let's go have a party. We've got a lot to do in the fall, and you know, there's things that will come due in the fall. So it's really important to keep a watch on that. But we're approximately where we should be, as Courtney said, right about dead on. So looking forward to a good second half of the year.
Pleasant Township, Melanie?
They had a meeting on the 7th. My kids had me drug different directions. I did not make it back in time to make it to the meeting, but the next one is the first Monday in July.
Okay. Squad, Jay.
Quad. All right, we had a meeting this past, what was today, Monday? So this last Monday, or Wednesday, sorry, 8 a.m. A couple big items coming up for us.
8 a.m.?
8 p.m., my goodness. Yes, 8 p.m., I am sorry. One big thing we had to make a decision on, we have to, or definitely making a decision to purchase a new truck for the squad. That's roughly going to cost us $206,000, $545. That's quite a chunk of change for one truck, but what goes in these trucks and everything is just as the fire truck, as what they were dealing with over there. It's tedious, it's very to the detail, and Chief Taylor does have a very keen eye on what he wants. So, yeah, so $206,545. Also, another decision we're trying to do, being flexible with our Range Township truck. They had certain hours that they're working there. But right now, we're kind of in discussion how we can change that, make it a little bit more, be a little more flexible with some of the people we have out there, so they can have certain days off. So it's just kind of interesting and fun trying to navigate that schedule for them as well. We are discussing about a 1.8 mil to put on the ballot for this year. So we are still in discussion about that, moving forward with that. Of course, discussing personnel, you know, some folks moving to volunteer. and things like that. We are looking for a part-time every 6-day, 24-hour shift. So if anybody is interested or looking for something like that, we have a part-time open every 6-day, 24-hour shift. And other things that happened, termination of volunteer, which is understanding what happens. We have volunteers, but if they don't show up after a certain amount of time, we want to take them off the list. And so they can always come back and reapply and go through the interview process. But obviously, if you're no call, no show, or just stop showing up, you're taken off the list. But if you still want to volunteer, come apply. Next, one of our trucks did have a little bit of an accident. As most of us know, when you're going out of town, and you might have to correct me on the name of the roads, Cemetery Road, it's just that one bend right after that, it gets really tight. And one of our trucks' mirror did smack an F-250. Those are big trucks as well with big wide mirrors as well. So we kind of had a little swipe there. So we're kind of dealing with the insurance there. So dealing with that scenario as well. But should be fun. So like I said, squad meetings are the life of the party. But other than that, we encourage folks to kind of hear what's going on with our emergency teams. We have our next meeting July 7th. That is 8 p.m. at the Squad Building Conference Room.
Thank you. Fire, Craig.
At our meeting, we talked about old business, which was new tanker truck had a little bit of an issue of horsepower because they can't get up to 65 on the freeway. So they did find a place where they could go in and have it tweaked by a computer, and now they can run 65. So that was corrected. Our new business, we talked about because the increase of runs they have, they're looking to have more people come in, and maybe more full-time help. So they're talking about the possibility of expanding the present building there. We also talked about possibility of a time frame of 5 to 10 years to build in a new fire station. And that's still an ongoing discussion. And our next meeting is June 24th, 8 o'clock.
Okay. Water, wastewater, also Craig.
We approved our 5-year plan for the water and sewer. We're still working on the ordinance of both water and sewer, and that's still ongoing too.
You mean the capital improvement plan?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. Oh, and our next meeting's July 7th.
Okay. Street, Andy.
We had a busy last couple of weeks as we began the summer projects which were slated. A number of them everyone can actually go take a look at right now if they'd like to. So the Clark Street improvements are completed. At this point, they look pretty darn decent. And thanks for everyone pitching in and the residents obviously agreeing to work with us on what was a really long-term proposition to get that underway. We've also done a giant round of pothole fixes of the worst. So if your pothole is not immediately fixed, we have prioritized most of the large potholes in the village, and we are trying to get as many of them fixed as we possibly can. We have also patched, our own staff has gone out and patched a number of significant potholes that we feel like we can make effective, solid patches on. And you will continue to see those happen over the course of the summer as well. So it'll be a combination, again, of us looking at the streets committee to figure out, okay, how much more can we do with our budget, and balance that with how much we can do inside. So look to see all of the patching continue. And that's all the status I've got.
Can I add something?
Please.
A lot of people have seen some new street signage.
Oh, I almost forgot. I can't forget. So, speed control in the village has been a continual problem, and there are two groups. One of them is on New Street, one of them is on High Street, where speed has been a particular issue recently because of the bridge being out. That's not to say that other folks don't have speed problems, they do. But because of the bridge and the way, the cut-throughs to the two major employers, Cahan, or now Molly, and WinCup, those two streets are acting as cross corridors, and folks are not going down London. And in some cases, they're also going down Rosewood as well. So in any case, we needed to chop up some of the traffic, so that we got feedback from the residents on on High Street, excuse me, that they would like to look at a different style of approach, and it will be coming potentially before council to talk to us about that. And of course, all of the street committee meetings, of which the next one is on July 7th, are all open to everyone to talk about how speed control works in the village and what we can do. Your Madison County Sheriff also, I happened to notice that this past, in our 2-week interval, has pulled over 15 cars, which is a pretty sizable number of cars. That's an increase over before, by the way. So anyway, we got new signs put up on New Street, and that has chunked New Street into basically 3 4-way stops all the way around. So if you're wondering if there are new stop signs on New Street, like where did those come from, it is because of exactly this issue, and they will remain up. Those are permanent additions. That's a hope that we can get those under control without doing any more improvements to New Street. We don't really want to do that, but at the same time, if we have to, we'll look at both New and High again.
Andy, it's made a big difference on New Street.
It has already started to make a difference, I would say so.
Yeah, it's kind
I
of
think
slowed them down
I think it's
a little
helped.
bit. Yeah.
It's not an slam dunk #1 solution because we'll still have cut through traffic, but it's not bad either. It's a good start. I'd rather have that.
Have to start somewhere, right?
Have to start someplace.
Just pay attention, because there are 2-hour parkings as well in the downtown areas. So hopefully, the streets will talk about markings on their capital improvement plans that we talked about, reserving some funds each year for that. But just make sure that when you're in the downtown area, there are additional 2-hour parking signs up. We just want to make sure that hopefully we can start striping like we talked about in the
Yeah,
past.
for a long time, we weren't doing any painting, any striping, any signage, and so people have gotten kind of used to sort of parking where. But if you look at the curb, if you look at where signs have traditionally been, they've always been there. And so we're just putting them back and making sure that if they're supposed to be there, they are. And
I
we have-
seen where the 15-minute parking signs back up in front of the post office
Yes,
too, which is, I'm
yes,
glad to see
mhm,
it there. That's great to see.
Yep. So take a look and let us know if we can do anything else.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Parks and Rec, Melanie?
We had a meeting June the 7th. We talked about maybe having a fundraiser. We have about 5 or 6 benches left to place at the park, but the problem is they will sink into the grass. So we were wanting to do a fundraiser to get some concrete pads, see if we can get people to adopt the pads, so the benches have pads to sit on. We also had talked about an adopted tree program. Maybe we could get some extra trees planted out there. We went over our 5-year plan, wish list, things we would like to see at the park, things that we would like to see happen. Our movie in June got canceled. It was really cold that night, and they're predicting 30-mile-an-hour winds. We didn't want to take the chance with the blow-up movie screen, so we just canceled it. We don't have a date for that yet, but we're thinking in July we're going to have 2 movies. But this month in June 26th, we are going to play Jungle Book 2, and we are going to have the bookmobile come out, and they're going to get kids signed up for library cards and all that fun kind of stuff. So look forward to 2 movies in July to make up for the one that we missed in May. We had our flea market on the 6th. We had a pretty good turnout of vendors. We had 2 food trucks attend. I believe we made $320.
Exact.
Okay. We are going to cancel the one on July 4th because it is the holiday, and a lot of the vendors expressed that they had other plans with the holiday, and the parade got moved to the morning, so we just thought it was going to be a little too much. So we're canceling that. We'll start the flea markets back up August 1st.
Is
And-
August 1st the date of the flea market?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we are going to have a Hooked on Fishing event sponsored by the Parks and Recs at the Summer Jam this weekend, Saturday from 3 to 6. So bring your kids out. We have prizes, goodies for them to bring home.
Free stuff.
Yep. And that's about all I had. Do we need to make a motion to accept the funds from the flea market?
Yes, so I have that on here. If I can ask for a motion to accept the donation to be deposited and spent by the Parks and Rec Fund. This was during an event at the Food and Flea on June the 6th for a total of $320.
Motion.
I'll second.
Jay, Melanie,
Roll call?
Craig,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
and Melanie.
Yes.
Okay, motion's passed.
We also need to mention that all of the items that we are giving away were purchased through an ODNR grant that we received, and we were going to use last year. They give you a year from July 1st through June of the next year, so we were able to spend it. We had to spend it before the 30th, and it was just kind of challenging, but they were willing to work with us. So ODNR is awesome. They do grants, several times a year, and we hope to continue a good relationship with them for that. So we had quite a nice little chunk of change, and so kids will be pleased when they leave the tent on Saturday. All right, records of retention, Andy.
Yeah, we met for the first time yet this year, so basically since COVID allowed us to get back together. We did clean up a giant old stack of records. We still continue to work through that process. The committee felt like it was important to make up some lost time, and we're going to go start meeting once a month over the summer and into the remainder of the year so that we continue on our mission of starting to squeeze some of this stuff down that is, has come from all over the place. And so look for the updated dates and times for that on the website. I think we still need to get a confirmation as the exact next one.
Okay. Nuisance and abatement, Becky?
Yep. So we had a meeting and went over several new and old nuisance violations, and several of them have been taken care of. We continue to get reports come in to the office all the time. So, we just ask that you be mindful of your property and your neighbors and your pets and your old cars. FYI, we cannot have cars sitting in our grass. So if it's in your driveway or it's being repaired in your driveway, or if it has a cover on it, it can stay. But these cars that just get parked in our backyards and don't have wheels or good tags or anything, they have to be moved. That's one of the things that's important right now. Of course, grass cutting, it's hard to keep up. We realize that. I already reported after we had our community cleanup. We had a lot of volunteers. The Nazarene Church was an integral part of that. We are planning another community cleanup in September, I believe. October 26th. But please, because we allowed you those 2 days to put your couches and your dumpsters in your front yard, and we came by and got those, you cannot do that right now. So there's nobody that will pick up a couch or anything sitting in your front yard, and so just be mindful of that. And then one other thing that we were working on is a community beautification committee. We had a couple of residents that expressed a lot of interest in beautifying our community, planting more perennials, possibly trees, weed eating, doing some light landscaping. And I am happy to report that that group is off the ground and working. I saw them outside for hours the other day, and we're really grateful. We have a local lady that has a little greenhouse, and even though she was not able to physically help that day, she did donate several perennials. So every kind of help that we can get is appreciated. If you can't do manual labor, but you can volunteer and sit at a booth when we need a volunteer, all volunteerism is wonderful for your community. So I just want to thank those citizens and encourage them, to keep up the great work. We have a beautiful little village, and we really, it makes my heart happy when I drive down a street and everything, it looks picture perfect. So let's keep striving for that. And with that said, also, it's not really a village. The village has began their yard contest, where we simply give you an award-winning poster to we stick in your yard, and we did have 2 recipients of that have those in their yard, and we did get our 3rd poster back in. We had to order a 3rd because we lost one last year. So we will be adding a 3rd winner to that. But also, I want to say with that, the Chamber of Commerce is having a beautiful yard competition that's taken to a different level. We have first, second, and third prizes, $100, $75, and $50 chamber bucks for those. And we ask that, I know our community's small, but sometimes, unfortunately, we might miss a side street or something if we're out trying to find. So we ask that you self-nominate or nominate your neighbors. And once we get all those nominations in on July 1st, we will drive around and judge and award those top 3. And the chamber bucks can be picked up here at Town Hall. And we will announce the winners on July 4th at the parade. And since I said the word parade, I do want to tell everybody now, the parade time has changed. Melanie mentioned that. It is no longer July 4th at 3 p.m. It is July 4th at 10 a.m. A lot of people had things going on. They didn't want to cut their day in half and come back to a parade. So it's at 10 a.m. And now the lineup is down at the community center. So you can get to the community center anytime you want. They encourage you to be there 9-ish to get lined up for a 10 o'clock parade. And the parade route will be on the flyers, but the parade will go down London Street in the business district. So, and our next meeting is Wednesday the 7th at 3:30. That's all.
Thank you. Safety Block Watch.
Yes,
David.
we finally got the block watch signs up, and we discussed that at our meeting. And when you put those signs up, that reduces crime by 30%, just seeing these signs in the neighborhoods. So it's so good to see them around there. And thanks to Courtney, she had some in the office, and I appreciate that, Courtney. We put them all to good use. And I'm so glad that, and when you see a difference in your neighborhoods, and also Becky was talking about good yards and stuff. When you have high weeds and stuff, that also is an element for crime. That gives them a place to hide, so that gives you another reason to cut them bushes down and stuff, and so do that. And also, we tabled about the night out. We discussed that, and we're just not ready yet. We had so many errors. Maybe next year, whoever's in charge, we can go with that. And I got a email crime I want to talk about tonight. Watch your emails. It's going around there. They're saying you have an Amazon account, and then they say you haven't paid so much on your bill, and they said we need to know your check account number so we can get this corrected. As I always said, even on your computer, shut it off, and if you get a phone call from them, slam the receiver in their ear. Do either way, but make sure you don't give out that information, because there's so many hackers out there anymore can find ways to get in to your accounts and everything, and that's all I got.
Amazon's, they called me, I think it was in one of our meetings, and I was like, who's this?
And there's another one they call, and
It was Amazon.
And I got a call the other day that my great uncle was locked up in California. And I have a great uncle in California, and he needed, I said, just let him sit in jail, and I hung up. But that's the key thing, always just be prepared, and we will be meeting again on July 15th at 4 o'clock.
Okay. I think I saw something coined somewhere where it's the scam slam. You always say slam the receiver. Somebody coined it the scam slam. I like that.
How do you get rid of the people calling about your extended car warranty?
There we go, there's all kinds, they got about your warranties, they're out there, they're out there.
Thank you. Planning and zoning. Andy.
Planning, just a quick update on that. Planning and zoning continues to be busy. We continue to update stuff on deck tomorrow, more about fencing and swimming pools, just to get it rationalized into the 21st century. We did have one variance for signage, and that was for Hammer Time, and we granted that, and I believe that's all we need to cover.
Okay,
The next meeting will be tomorrow, actually.
very good.
Tomorrow night at 6 p.m., not 7 p.m. right here. 6 p.m. right here.
That takes us to ordinances and resolutions.
Okay. Ordinance 2021-06 is an ordinance accepting the financial recovery plan budget for the water operating fund in pursuant of the Ohio State Auditor's Office. This is on the third reading.
Is there a motion to place this on the third reading?
Have that motion?
Second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Roll call?
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Melanie?
No.
Craig?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2021-06 has passed. The next one is ordinance 2021-07, an ordinance amending ordinance 2019-27 on adopting procedures and methodologies for the payment of water and sewer bills. This is on the third reading.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Craig, Jay?
Roll call?
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2021-07 has passed. Okay, the next ordinance is ordinance 2021-08. An
Oh.
ord-
Aren't you good vote on adoption? You're just on third reading?
I was wondering.
We got moving fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got moving way too fast, didn't I? Thank
That's
you,
why we got
Bob.
Bob.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yes.
think we're
that was
missing
my-
something.
That was my bad. I skipped right over top of that. Okay, so let's go back to ordinance 2021-06.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt,
This is for passage,
passage, and then adoption?
just passage.
Passage. Is there a motion? No, it's adopt.
No, ordinances are passage.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yep.
Is there a motion to,
Let's try that again. I'll move for that.
Okay. Andy?
I'll second.
David?
roll call?
Okay, and I'm gonna start this from the end. David?
Yes.
Melanie?
No.
Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Okay, it's passed. Ordinance 2021-06. Ordinance 2021-07, this one is a motion for passage.
I'll make that motion.
Craig?
Second?
Jay?
Roll call?
Melanie?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
And David?
Yes. I can
Okay,
get used to being
ordinance
like.
2021-07 is passed. Ordinance 2021-08, an ordinance to assess a flat rate administrative fee to all water consumers in the village to now include each apartment and condominium unit so that the administrative fee is applied uniformly within the village. This is on the third reading.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Becky?
Anyone?
Second?
Becky, Jay?
Roll call?
Andy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Motion for passage?
Is there a motion for passage of ordinance 2021-08?
Have that motion?
Okay.
Second.
And who was, okay, Craig?
Roll call?
Both names, okay. Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2021-08 has passed. Okay, ordinance 2021-09, this is on the second reading. An ordinance to adopt standards and fees for obtaining a demolition permit.
Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Jay, Andy?
Roll call?
David?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2021-09 is passed on the second reading. Okay, the next ordinance is 2021-11, an ordinance to adopt the revised zoning map for the village of Mount Sterling and declaring this as an emergency.
Have that motion.
Did you want to talk about that at all, or?
Yeah, this is the zoning map, which was discussed at the open house where the public was invited to attend over at the community center. Because we are under a kind of a schedule due to all of the building which is going on in the village, we need to adopt the map so that the builders know what they're allowed to build, essentially. So that's why this is on an expedited reading.
Okay. So David gave it first?
Yep.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Craig? Roll
Okay,
call?
David, Craig, okay, Melanie?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Did we need to say that was to suspend
To
the
suspend the
rules?
rules?
This was
Yeah,
to
suspend the rules.
Yep.
Now we need a motion to place it on the first, second, and third readings.
I'll give you that.
Second.
Andy, Becky?
Roll call?
Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
And motion for passage 2021-11.
Have that motion.
I'll second.
David, Melanie?
Roll call?
Okay, Becky?
Yep.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2021-11 has passed on an emergency. Okay, the last piece of legislation, this is going to be on the first reading. 2021-12, an ordinance to adopt a mobile food truck vending permit. This is first reading.
We have discussion. I did attend a zoning meeting and expressed some concerns. We all received a proposal a few weeks ago, and they did look at it and tweak it, and I have noticed some positive changes, and thank you for that. But I still have just a couple of concerns with this food truck vending permit, and one of the big concerns in this legislation, I know when it was proposed that the food truck money is supposed to go to Parks and Rec, and it's not written that way in this legislation. I can't find it anywhere. So I just wondered if we need to table this until the legislation can get amended to say that the money goes to Parks and Rec.
I'll propose to council right now that we amend it such that those funds are earmarked directly for Parks and Recs.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Andy, Jay?
Roll
Okay,
call.
just a second here.
Yep.
So that's just changing the legislation to say that.
That's changing the
Okay.
legislation, yep.
Read.
Amend all, and I'll write it as all funds to be
Allocated, earmarked.
to Parks and Rec. Fund, okay. We'll do a roll call on this one. Let's see, okay, so we'll start with Jay.
Yes.
Can I stop you there? Is this to, it's just to amend?
This is
that
to amend.
correct?
Yes.
Right.
All right,
Yep. And then we'll do it on the first.
yes,
reading.
okay.
So that was Jay, Andy,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
and Becky.
Yes.
Okay, this is amending ordinance 2021.
And then my second concern, and I just have to say it again, is I'm a little bit confused where it says special events. It says certain things are required, and then I kind of feel like it says unless it's a special event, or things at special events are different, but I'm not quite sure. But I guess my thing, working with the Chamber of Commerce and the market crew and different entities, and Andy and I have talked about this several times, is that, the funds are going to go to Parks and Rec now, but I think, in my opinion, if you have a nonprofit group, such as the ones I mentioned, or the Youth League, or something that's sponsoring that food truck, I really feel like the people, the volunteers, the nonprofit that's sponsoring the food truck should get those funds, unless, it's just a community activity, like when all of a sudden, last year, when we couldn't do any events, we popped up, the community on Facebook said, we're just going to do a drive around, and they drove around, and we were able to get a food truck for that. Something like that, 100%, I think that should go, to Parks and Rec. But I do feel like if you have your volunteers in other nonprofits, and I know the argument that, well, this is what the village gets, and then you can add more on, but I almost feel like if you add more on, so the organization putting on the fundraiser gets a donation too, then we might be pricing ourselves out of the market for the small community. So that's just one other thing I would like everyone to consider, is that, these nonprofits, only have limited types of fundraisers, and if we decide to infringe on that in some way, I think it could possibly hurt future events. That's all I'm saying.
Sure. Any other discussion about that?
Okay, this would be for, again, a motion to place on the first reading for the amended ordinance 2021-12, an ordinance to adopt a mobile food truck vending permit legislation.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
I'll second.
That was Jay, Andy,
Roll call?
Jay,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes?
David,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Becky.
No.
Okay, motion has been passed on the first reading.
I'm not sure if that, well, we can circle back to that, okay. Roundtable,
I have something.
yes.
Okay, so this letter was sent to Jay Petty from Steve Cooper at the Dairy Freeze. He is asking council if there could be closures. So I'll go ahead and read his letter. The Dairy Freeze has 2 car shows scheduled for 2021 to be held at their business located at 85 North London Street. The 2 car shows, the first one is a retro car show on Saturday, June the 26th from 10 to 2. The second car show is the Full Throttle Car Show, Saturday, August the 21st from 10 to 2. Both of these shows are, we are asking permission from the Village of Council to close Church Street from London Street to Market Street at 9 the day of the show until 2:30. Additionally, in previous years, the village has dropped off a couple of road signs and orange cones for them to be used during the show. We are also wondering if they could borrow those as well. We have already talked to the businesses that would be impacted by this, which is the auto mechanics there, it's on the corner of Church, and they are in full support of this request. The owner's part of this group, and it may be bringing up to 30 cars to this show. Please let them know if they have any additional. So there will be a motion to approve the road closures, as well as providing signs for the 2 car shows, sponsored by the Dairy Freeze, to close Church Street to, from London to Market Street, well, Church Street, all of that, and then London Street to Market from 9 a.m. to 2:30 on January 26th and August the 20th. June the 26th and August the 21st.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so that was.
It's a
Craig-
great event. They do awesome every year.
Okay, so that was Craig and Andy. Roll call, would you like?
Yes, please.
Okay, Andy,
Yes?
David,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
and Jay.
Yes.
Okay, motion has been passed. Jay, did you want to let them know, or did you?
I'll let them know.
Okay. Yep. That was the only thing I had.
Any other roundtable?
I have one thing for Roundtable. Today is June 14th, and this is National Flag Day. And in 1777, Betsy Ross presented the first flag to the Continental Congress. And that flag flew on the Ranger ship for John Paul Jones for his first mission during the Revolutionary War. And our flag has withstood many of things. It's been abused and it's been burnt, but it's always stood for freedom. I mean, when we did the Pledge of Allegiance here, I know at the American Legion, we always have a certain flag ceremony. And also want to announce that we will have a American Legion. I'm one of the commanders. There'll be some Legion members out there on not August, but coming up this Thursday. And it'll be a flag racing at 5 o'clock. There'll be some of the Legion members there, and go out there and support them, and then support the festival. But the flag will be flying great as it always has.
I would like to add on to that. So if you've been through town and you've seen our flag that's up there now, it's a lot smaller than our older one. We've had some trouble lately with all of the requests from the government to fly the flag at half-staff. And if you've noticed, or if you've ever caught it, sometimes when it gets to that point, there's the other pole that's next to it, and if we get a strong enough wind, it gets entangled in there and rips the flag. So the last time that happened, it destroyed the flag pretty good. We have a gentleman that supplies us all the time with flags, and he brought a larger one in. So I think, if it's okay with council, my thought would be we're going to put the bigger flag back up, also with the Ohio flag underneath it. If we get the request from the government to go to half-staff, I think I will have our staff pull it down, put the shorter flag back on for the duration of the half-staff timing, and then put it back up once it goes back to full staff. I don't think that there would be an issue with that. Do you feel?
No, there wouldn't be.
Okay, and that way we won't get, look embarrassed to have it stuck in the
Well,
pole.
Mayor, eventually, by November 11th, we're hoping to have the flag near Timmons Way there by the monument,
Right.
where we had a meeting about that. And then eventually, we're going to have all the military flags there. So
Right.
we're working on it slowly but surely. But I helped untangle that flag before it got in that light. I know what it
It's
is.
a little frightening, so. Any other roundtable?
Go ahead, Jay.
No, I just want to reiterate, I know I mentioned in my report earlier that the commission meeting was postponed, and I don't know if we've ever really kind of explained what when we say the word commission or finance commission, as we know, the village is still under a fiscal emergency, and there's a financial commission, which is state auditors, there's individuals from that office, and also myself, Mayor Darlington, and our fiscal officer, Courtney Bricker, attends that meeting, and we kind of hear the status, which Courtney's done a phenomenal job putting programs together. I know the terminology, I can't remember what you call them, but procedures. The procedures, I think she's had 27 that she's written up, and she's done a phenomenal job helping us go in the right direction. We've had some hard meetings and to getting us out of there, and we're making strides to get out of that way, out of our fiscal emergency. But I apologize for not kind of explaining to the public what the Financial Commission meeting is. This is the meeting where they do discuss where we're at and our status. So that's my update.
So I just had real quick, we are going to have an information booth at the festival, and we have all kinds of different literature from different groups within our community that want to share their events and their updates with everyone. So we're going to have one information booth in the middle, and I am still looking for volunteers. I'm only asking that people do like a 2-hour shift, and there'll be a tent with a table and chairs, and all you have to do is look at all the literature we have out and hand out literature and encourage people, just represent, everything in a positive way and hand out that literature. And so if you are interested in volunteering for a 2-hour shift at that information booth, either this coming Thursday evening, Friday evening, or Saturday during the day, and I would ask council to lead by example, and maybe you would consider working at that information booth. So just get with me if you're interested, and I want to give a shout out to Christy Zerbrick and the Madison Messenger. We kind of took second billing to the goats that are doing yoga with people, but right beside that article is a really nice article about our festival, and then you turn it to page 5, and there's another huge page of all of our events. So it's really nice that our local newspaper takes the time to put that much detail into this article. It just helps everyone in the community, and helps the attendance and helps all the businesses, just a win-win. So just a big thank you for your great coverage on that event. And Marcy, is doing a newsletter for nuisance and abatement, and that's going to come out for July, August, and September. Some of you may recall we've had out for months our April, May, and June newsletter. It's really informational, and on the back is a nice thing to hang on the fridge with all the events. So another one's coming out, and I know we reached out to other organizations, and so it's probably too late now to add to the July, August, and September one, because I think it may come out the next day or two. But if you or your organization have events the last quarter of the year, the sooner you get those in, the more likely you are to make the newsletter. So that's all I have.
And before I forget, I was going to mention it while Jack was here, since we're having that info booth, and we were talking about kids and keeping your eye on your kids, we might use that also as a place where lost kids could come, or lost parents, as they say in Kings Island or whatever.
Right.
But anyone else?
And don't forget, kids, tell your kids the wristband day, and that's in the newspaper, but that's on Saturday. And everybody always asks when, because rides tend to be expensive. So $12 a wristband for 4 hours, Saturday.
What are the hours for that?
The hours for the whole
For the
day.
wristband.
The wristbands, oh, I'm sorry, noon to 4. Noon to 4.
Anyone else? All right, thank you for the good meeting, and we'll see you this week. We're adjourned.
These guys.
Sorry.
That is good. But it is roughly right. More or less. You guys didn't yet.